Hello YouTube. So tonight I'm gonna talk about Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey Part 2. Yeah, I just saw that movie 2 hours ago and I thought it was really amazing. Before I get started, this review will contain spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie and you're intrigued by it, I wouldn't recommend watching this review. I recommend watching the movie first before coming back into my channel to watch my review and my perspective on that. Anyways, let me get started. So I'm gonna start with the negatives first. My main negative with this movie is that it does take itself a little bit too serious, in my opinion, and I wish it didn't. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of campy moments in this movie, but at the same time, there's like so many moments where it takes itself too serious, and I wish it didn't. They need to cramp up the campiness a little bit more, in my opinion. Another criticism that I have with the movie is that there's a lot of scenes where it's too dark and it's hard for me to see, and for example, there's a couple of kill scenes that's taking place in the woods late at night, and it's really hard to see it. It's like the camera or the visual effects is really dark, and it's a lot of times it's hard to tell what's going on, and that really kind of bothered me a little bit. I feel like they need to add more light into this movie, and there was another problem that the first movie had too, where there's a lot of scenes where it was just too dark and it was hard for me. It was hard to tell what's going on a lot of times, and it's hard to see some of the good kills, because there are a lot of good kills in this movie, but because it's taking place at a very because the camera is so dark, it's hard to kind of see that. And another criticism I have with the movie is that it is kind of a slow burn, and I wish it was more stimulating. Especially when it comes to a camping movie, I wish it wasn't a slow burn, and I wish it was more stimulating. For example, during the third act of the movie, that's when things start getting more of a adrenaline rush, and I wish the movie kind of delivers that more. And my final criticism with the movie is that there's a scene where Winnie the Pooh picks up the chainsaw and he uses it, but he didn't exactly use it on someone. And if you're gonna advertise it, it's in the front of the cover of the movie. They show Winnie the Pooh with a flaming chainsaw. Now that does exist. Unfortunately, he didn't exactly use it. He was gonna use it on one of the victims, which is, I believe, was Christopher's girlfriend or love interest. And yeah, he didn't exactly use it. So that was I really wanted to see him use a chainsaw. Now my mixed perspective of this movie is that like I said, the movie takes itself too serious, but at the same time, so the premise of this movie, it goes deep into Christopher's childhood. He sees a hypnosis therapist, and he takes the mind back into his childhood, and then there's actually a plot twist where his younger brother ended up getting kidnapped by this mad scientist, and then we later on discover that he's actually using those, not just his little brother but other kids, to take him to this guy in the van kidnaps children so he can deliver to this mad scientist. Now the guy he's getting paid for this, but the mad scientist is he was the one that actually like created those hybrid monsters, which is now Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, what's the name, Tigger and Owl. So that's a plot twist. The plot twist is that these actually they're all basically hybrid, you know, created by the scientists using animal DNA on Gess's children, and it's actually pretty dark. And I do like, you know, that aspect of this movie. Even though, like I said, I wish like it was a little bit more campy. I will admit that I do like this that side of the story, because it's actually pretty fucked up and dark, and I do like that from any horror movie, whether it's campy or not. So that was you know, interesting. You know, that was an interesting plot twist, and I really like that. Another thing I like is the actor who plays Christopher. I believe he's one of the creators. I don't know if he's a producer. I had to look that up because I kind of forgot. And I really think he's a very good actor, even for like a, you know, for like a parody. Well, not a parody. Well, yeah, it is a parody. For like a parody, you know, campy movie like this, I think he could actually do, you know, serious roles in serious horror movies, because he could act. He's a very good actor. You know, the way he expressed grief and sadness is very real. And yeah. Now for the positives, I just thought this movie was really good. It's definitely a lot of great kills, a lot of brutal kills, and definitely a very high body count. So much so where I actually lost count of how many bodies have been taken out in this movie. And they're all both very gruesome and brutal. Some were CGI, but for a campy movie like this, it doesn't bother me. But like the practical effects was really nice in this movie. The scene where they show Tigger, and he's like scratching some of his victims, and there's one where he's just scratching the fuck out of his victim to the, you can see his like her skin just getting ripped apart, and it just looks super realistic. Like that was really nice. Great practical effects. You know, I really admire that. Like it's just amazing. Like whoever created the movie could definitely pull off some, you know, serious movies using that practical effects, and hopefully they actually make serious movies in the future. But as of now, I feel like they're very devoted to this Puniverse, or you know, these parodies of child stories created into like a horror movies. And yeah, the movie just have a better storyline. You know, like the costume designs, you know, definitely a lot better. Oh yeah, let me go back to one negative. Another negative that I have this movie that I'll be strictly honest with you, I didn't find it as funny as I did with the first one, and mainly it's because of the costume design. In the first one, it was more comedic. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like the costume designs, and I mean, I guess I could put that in a mixed perspective. Is that I do like the costume designs, but at the same time, I kind of wish they kind of stick to the to the cheap costume that they used in the first film. Now let me get back to the positives. Another positive that I had with the movie, that it paid a lot of homage to a lot of horror movies, especially the classic ones like Halloween, Scream, even Child's Play. Even they even pay an homage to one of the kills in the Chucky TV series with the which the dishwasher with and a knife sticking out, and Winnie the Pooh ended up killing Christopher's mom. Was that he grabs her and then throws against a knife, and I thought it was a pretty gnarly kill. Very reminiscent to that one kill And in the Chuck E. Cheese series of the first season with a nanny, I believe it was a nanny, he pushed her to the knives and got killed by that. And let's see what else. Yeah, I really like how Winnie the Pooh is pretty much Michael Myers, especially in the Recall trilogy with Halloween, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. And even like the classic, first two Halloween movies with now that we know that Winnie Pooh is actually Christopher Roberts' brother. Yeah, that's a plot twist. And then Tigger is pretty much, Freddy Krueger, and pretty much every line and kill he makes, he delivers the line "bitch," because they kill a lot of like people in the rave, and that was a really gnarly scene that was taking place in the third act. That's when things started getting crazy. He starts killing people. Both Winnie the Pooh and Tigger starts killing a lot of people in the rave, and most of them are female. And Tigger is just killing them brutally while delivering the line "bitch," which is very reminiscent to Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger. I really like that. And what else? Oh, Owl is pretty much Jeepers Creepers, which is it used to be my favorite of the. I want to say it was my favorite horror franchise, but I did enjoy the first two. But the whole controversy with the director really makes me not, I'm not saying that I don't like that movie, but it just kind of ruined it for me, and I'm not going to get into that. He also kind of reminds me of Freddy Krueger as well, with the figure and his voice, and he delivers a couple of funny lines as well as Tigger. So some of the lines is kind of hard for me to make out because like not only that he had like a demonic voice, but he's also had like this speaking in British dialect, which is sometimes hard for me to make out. And then what else? Yeah, just the kills are really nice in this movie. And that's pretty much it. Like, I don't got nothing else for me to say. Overall, I give the movie a 4.5 stars. I would easily give this movie a 5 if it wasn't some of the flaws that I pointed out, because I really enjoyed this one. And I am looking forward to watching some of the later films that the creators are talking about, because before the movie started, they actually showed the creators and they talk about like the future films. They even talk about like a third one, and actually like during the there's actually a post-credit scene where I believe it was Rabbit that was talking, and that's why he's not in this movie. But I believe he will be in the third sequel. So I'm looking forward to that. But as I was saying, like the creators from the beginning, before they show the movie, they show the creators and they're talking about all the other movies like Bambi Reckoning. That looks pretty cool. I'm actually more intrigued with Pinocchio because they did mention that they are gonna make Pinocchio similar to Chucky, which I'm heavily looking forward to. And they did mention that Pinocchio is gonna be very brutal in that movie, in their future movie. They actually talk about a scene where he kills one of the victims and he's skinning his victim and then wearing the skin basically to be like a real boy, and I thought it was pretty clever. Also, another thing I want to point out is the Pooniverse. I'm looking forward to that, where it's basically Winnie the Pooh, Pinocchio, and pretty much Bambi and everyone else. Oh, and Alice in Wonderland, I forgot about that one. So Mad Hatter is going to be in that movie too. So it's going to be like the evil adventures against, the protagonist. And that's all. That's my review for tonight. I hope you, you know, I recommend watching this movie because they're only showing it for like 3 days, 3 nights, I mean, in theaters. So, you know, if you like campiness, if you like especially if you like the first one, I highly recommend checking it out. If you don't like camping movies, then I don't recommend watching it. But if you're like kind of like a casual fan, maybe check it out in theaters or wait until it come out on streaming. But yeah, that's pretty much my whole review on the movie. I really liked it, and yeah, you all have a good night.